Ready to start?
Yes.
Excellent. So we're going to set up the document builder. This is going to be our first activity. The scenario that we have is basically a contract management team needs to move the contract out of an email kind of setting and more streamlined process. So what we're going to do is we are going to say someone fills out a form. The contract team generates the document, and then all of the information from that form is going to populate in that document. And because it's a contract, you might need to go through some iterations with people, asking them to submit their feedback before actually making it a final contract. So this might not directly pertain to your use case, but at least you will now have the skills to do it.
Okay.
So the first thing I am going to ask you to do is download this description of services and GTCS, General Terms and Conditions of Services.
Okay.
Once you have that in probably your downloads folder,
Yeah.
we're going to go through the sheet and then we're going to reference this document. So I'm going to go through the sheet first. I'm going to go into Vendor Express Contracts intake sheet. Are you working on two screens today, Alessandro?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Beautiful. So what we have in this sheet right now is we have an ID column.
Yeah.
I'm going to double click it. So contract request, that's why we have CRQ. It's an auto number field, so each contract gets its own unique number.
Okay.
Next, we have a status column, and this is just a single select drop-down of not started if we're drafting, proofing, if we have sent it out for signatures, because a lot of times some companies use electronic signatures. You're going to have people in person, so this status might not pertain directly to you.
Yeah, but I use it in some other contract because I'm also the manager of my society, so I do so many contracts. It's very useful. So,
oh, fantastic. Oh, yeah. Lots of use cases. Excellent. So I'm going to click OK. We also have some contact columns, and we are going to talk about this specifically in mapping a little bit later. So our contract manager is Juliana.
Okay.
That is a contact column. We have some dollar amounts. We have the project title. We also have a date submitted column. This is also the date that it was originally created. So when someone fills out your form, that's on the row.
Right.
We have a signatory column for MBF Core. That's the company we're pretending to work for today.
Yeah.
And then we have our vendor email, our vendor's company name, and then our vendor's name, just a text box. Okay. And we're working with Carl Jackson. We're pretending he's going to redo our website today. Okay. Lastly, we have milestones. Now, for the contract we're using today, you might regularly have more than 3 milestones, but for the purpose of this class and keeping things smaller, we've made 3. So you can have one milestone saying the wireframes are delivered for this website. That's the cost of it. Then milestone 2, the design's complete.
Okay.
And then if you don't have a 3rd milestone, that's fine. But what we did put in place was a red flag. And that means if someone puts any kind of information in the additional milestone area, it's going to turn to a red flag because we're going to have to do some manual work then.
Okay.
All right. So that's the way the sheet is set up. Do you have any questions on the way the sheet is oriented?
No. Interesting, this formula on the flag could be quite useful. I have to memorize this. Quite interesting.
Yeah.
I'll make a snapshot of this suddenly. Okay.
Excellent. Beautiful. So let's go over the PDF next. I'm going to open up my PDF here, and this is my contracts class. We're going to open up the form now. It's opening on my other screen, of course. I apologize. So the form that we've given you is what is called a fillable PDF.
Right.
Someone can type information in here. It is a special kind of PDF. We're not going to show you how to make that today, but you can do some Googling. You might need an Acrobat license.
Yeah,
but
I know
no,
it. Yeah.
Excellent.
I have an Acrobat license. Yeah.
Perfect. So you're going to need to make a fillable PDF before placing it in the document generator. That is a requirement.
Okay.
So what I also want to call out is that this information here is not identical to what is in our sheet. We have our contract ID, a contract manager, owner, contract amount, and the cost center, that's fine. But our contract title is what we're calling a project title. This is where we'll fit our description. And we have our milestones set up in a grid rather than in columns the way we have in the sheet. And then we're going to put our signatory information. I then just added another page to this PDF, and it's just some lorem ipsum, which is just general fake words. I did have someone ask me if they were okay because everything turned into a different language one time, and I was like, no, you're fine. So that's our PDF. Similar, okay, but different than our sheet. Any questions here?
No, that's right.
All right. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to move this to the side for later. Excuse me. So what we are going to do first is I'm here back in my activities. We're going to add the contract to our sheet. I'm then going to give you some time to map the fields. So you are going to line up all of the fields so that they match these columns to those PDF fields. That will make sense in a moment. Then we are going to automate the requester's name. Just the name. Once they put their email in, it will generate their email. We're going to talk about why we're going to do this after we map the PDF.
Okay.
So let's go build that. I'm in my sheet right now. I'm going to go to the far left, and I'm going to open up the drop-down menu. I'm going to go right to our brand new button here. I'm going to click Generate Documents. This is where we are going to upload that PDF that I just showed you. You probably still have it in your downloads folder. Right. I'm going to find mine. And this is the version I want. So I'm going to click Open.
That's right.
Excellent.
That's right.
So we've just ingested that fillable PDF into this document builder, and it's a little tough to zoom in, so I do apologize. Titles have been automatically added to these fields, which is why the grid in the activity is going to help you a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few things, and then I'm going to give you time to fill this out. I'll do it at the same time as you do.
Okay.
Over on the left, we have the sheet column names. So you probably recognize some of them. Yeah. ID. I'm going to click and drag. And now my column ID, titled ID, is matched up next to contract ID.
Okay.
So you can place single fields, single cells into each field. So if I drag over contract manager, that will work. And what I do want to say is that down here at the bottom, we're going to show a few different things. So I'm just going to skip right to the bottom myself. We're going to put the vendor name in the lower right area. We're going to put the vendor's email right above that vendor name. And then we're going to put the vendor's name, how we address that person there as well. I'm also going to put my teammate's name, my teammate's email address, and because we're always going to be in the same company, this was blank originally. I could fix it in my PDF, but if you are working in different departments and want to personalize things to your own department, you can type in this this document builder as well. So I'm going to type MBF core here. And now every time a document is generated, what I've written here is going to stay.
Okay.
So you can also place, I've already used, let's just see, the contract owner. I've already used my MBF core name. That's okay. You can place multiple fields that you've already used into the document builder as well. Because sometimes you have duplicate information, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is mapping. So I would love if you could finish building this document builder, finish mapping all of the pieces. And again, if you want to see how we're lining them up so it looks like mine, this table is going to work.
Okay.
When you're done, do not rush, Alessandro. It's just the two of us today.
No. Okay. I need the third. No, if you leave this screen, I do the mapping in the proper way. Otherwise, I need the third screen that I don't have. So.
Okay. So I'll leave this up and then I'll do it over here on my other screen. Sound like a deal?
Thank you very much. Bye.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right. The project title is just called contract information. So drag that column name over to...
Yeah, on the PDF, it is not, it seems it doesn't have a field. Oh, no, that's right. Sorry about that. Sorry. I was looking at another way. That's right. I found it.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
This is the long part of this class.
Description. Go to title 1. Okay. Project title. Description. Okay. There we have milestone. Milestone.
Do you need me to scroll down?
Sorry?
Do you need me to scroll down?
No, it's right for now. It's all right.
Excellent.
Milestone 2, it should be the same. Amount 2, 3, milestone 3, amount 3, and then we finished this. And what we have got yet, extra milestone, maybe yes, if you scroll down, please. I mean, I should have in the other, yeah, I have it in the other window, so I can. Sorry, don't worry. I mean, I can go in the other window. So
That's okay.
what I lost, what I need more, cost center. What's cost center? Cost center. That's right. It's cost center. Cost center is cost center. That's right. Okay. And then I have milestone 4 and 5. That there is no milestone 4 and 5, right? Yeah, I think it's finished because there is no milestone 4 and 5, isn't it?
Excellent. And you finished the signatory part, correct?
Yeah, I did the signal level with you before.
Beautiful. All right.
So that's finished.
Wonderful. I'm going to drag mine over here. So if what you can do next is you can click Save in the upper right corner.
Okay.
Now, this PDF has been saved for you, so you can map any row needed to build a PDF. We're not going to do it quite yet. And the reason that we're not going to do it quite yet is that we, A, want to put some information into the sheet. We want you to build a form, submit the form, fill it out, and then you can see how that information falls into the sheet. But you can also have multiple PDFs loaded here, and this way you can decide what kind of PDF, what kind of document you should be building, and in our case, having someone sign. I mean, you're in Europe, GDPR is a big deal in Europe. So if we are contracting in the US with someone who needs to follow GDPR, that could be a different contract template, excuse me, that someone in a US to US company might not use. So you can choose everything that you need here as well, which is kind of...
I lost your audio. Hello? I cannot hear you anymore. Okay.
So, but where were we? We were just mapping, we just finished mapping the description, and I was talking about that you can save multiple PDFs here.
Right.
That where I got cut off?
Yes, that's right. You were saying you can make 2 different PDF in depending on what you need in different ways. So
excellent. Well, that was actually a really nice place because now we're going to fill out a form. So I'm going to go back to the sheet, and I'm just really glad I was able to save before it crashed, so I could. Excellent. So we're going to go to Forms in the upper left corner, and I'm going to Manage Forms. We have an express contract form already made for you. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come to these 3 dots, and I am going to open the form.
okay.
So we're going to collect some data. I'm going to fill out a few different things. I'm going to encourage you to do the same while I'm doing this. I'm just going to call this marketing video, total amount. I'm going to say $10,000. And then for my detailed description of services, I'm going to say 50%. Milestone 1, 50%. Excellent. So my milestone 1 is going to be upfront cost. My pay date, let's just say it's in January. And then milestone 2, I'm going to say final deliverable. My second amount is going to be $5,000. And I'm going to say that might take us into the end of February. Now, because I did make 2 milestones, you probably noticed that we used conditional logic to get there. So once you started typing in milestone 2, then 2 other fields came up. We're not going to have a third milestone or an additional milestone, so I'm going to leave those 2 blank. I'm going to say the MBF signatory is Alex Ramos. At demo.heloindustries.io. I'm going to say Alex is in marketing. And then I'm going to say that my vendor signatory is going to be Carlo Smith. And he works for Carlo Videos LLC. Excellent.
Vendor signature email, maybe you have to write an email.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm like making sure nothing's going wrong with my computer. So I'm going to say Carlo Smith at demoanything.com, just for the purposes of drama, right? So I'm going to submit this. Now, we are going to do 2 things here. Number 1, we're going to figure out how to automate that name as I promised earlier. And then we're going to make ourselves the contract manager. So I'm going to go back into my sheet. We're going to load it. And here. This is, okay, Alex Ramos. I got her email wrong, excuse me. So we are going to set up a formula first because this is a contact column. When you have a contact column in Smartsheet, what's going to happen is it is going to read the email address and not what we have replaced it. Because what we're doing here, if I look at this, or I have assigned Alex Ramos as the name of of this email address. So we want just the name to appear in this column. So when we're putting it on that form, everything's all set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type an equal sign. And I'm going to click the name in that row, that email in that row, and press enter. That's going to bring back just the text.
Interesting.
And then I'm going to convert it to a column formula. So now I have Alex's email, Jennifer's email, and if I were maybe to put my name here, you'd see Amy Trainer appear as the name, which is really nice.
Right. Very interesting. So I have to give them, of course, the name before. I mean, in this list of contacts, you have to, okay, for example, I have all my coworkers. In fact, I put the name of one of my coworkers, and it's just say the names with which she signed to Smartsheet. That's right.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we're doing this for our company name. Most likely, you probably already have people's names and emails set up. We're not going to do that for the vendor name. And I'm just going to open this up. We didn't do that for Carlo because he's not in our company. He might have to log into Smartsheet and make an account. He's going to have to make an account later, excuse me. But for the purposes of setting up the contract right away, it's a lot easier for him to type, for someone to type in his name first. Excellent. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to mark myself as the contract manager. I'm going to invite you to do that with me.
Right.
Excellent. So have you done that now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I am the contract manager, not you.
Correct. Indeed. Yes. Place yourself there.
Okay.
So now we're going to generate that contract for just row number 2.
Okay.
So to do that, and you can follow alongside me,
Yeah.
I'm going to open up this drop-down
Mm-hmm.
and generate documents. This has all of the documents that I could have loaded in here.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I can press the generate button, but I'm actually going to open up the drop-down and I'm going to say download it immediately.
Okay.
And that will download to your desktop. Now, I'm also going to I'm going to attach it to the row. You don't have to do this.
Great. So you attach to the Smartsheet row. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very
So
interesting.
I just downloaded immediately to my computer for ease, and I'm going to show you what it's going to do. I'm going to return to the sheet. And directly attached here is what we just mapped. I
Great.
probably want to rename it. So I might want to maybe that's version 1 so that it has a new description. But I'm going to click on this and you're going to see, look at that. We have a filled out PDF. Now, what I want to call out is that what I said before, we put Alex Ramos's name in here. We mapped that to be that formula column, but all contact columns are coming up as an email address. So that is something to note. If you are trying to be really prescribed, that is a workaround that we do have to do. Because we did not make a workaround for the contract manager name here. It's the only one that's just a contact column, and that's why our emails show up in this field. Any questions there?
No.
Excellent.
No, I mean, very interesting. Very interesting. Something I really was looking for. And I imagine surely I can generate multiple rows, probably, if I have 10 contracts. Do I have to do it one by one, or maybe, yeah, because we did the call row 2, but if I have a very big sheet and I want to generate, 20 rows altogether, is it possible to do it?
Yes, so that's what I was just demonstrating. Right now, we do have 2 rows. You might have, as you say, 20 rows.
Yeah.
I would just select the rows I would like.
Okay.
Generate documents.
Okay.
And when I open up this drop-down menu, I make sure that I choose attach to 2 rows. If you're choosing 20 at a time, you would attach to 20.
Great.
Now, this I will say, I'm not going to make any forward-looking statements. We're going to talk about what the product is able to do right now. And right now, what we have to do is we have to take that PDF, pull it out of Smartsheet in order to put it into proofing. And that's where we're going to talk through all of the different steps.
Okay.
So I downloaded this PDF, and as you can see here, that's how it's opening first. I'm going to close that. And if you need to, let me just open up these activities. We are in proofing.